What's up? Today I'm here to talk about Hades 2, the sequel to Hades 1, obviously. An indie game, I think it's technically indie, but a video game that came out about, I want to say that's 2020, that it finally got out of early access and officially released. And now the sequel is coming about 5 years later. And Supergiant Games is the developer of this title, and they have always really not done sequels. I think this might be one of their only, if not the only, sequel they've ever done. And probably just because of the overwhelming popularity the game had online, I feel like the word of mouth for this title was really, really good when it came out, especially it was like during peak COVID, so everyone was looking for stuff to do, and this probably made the rounds of many people who were stuck at home. And the take they had on like the Greek mythology was really, really cool. And then the gameplay. The gameplay was so fun and addicting. It's a roguelite game if you haven't ever played it. So, you basically keep making runs on the same thing over and over again, and you slowly improve, gain more abilities, gain experience to spend on stuff and whatnot. And so it gets easier kind of with each run. And then there's also like different builds that you can play around with, from weapons to the different abilities the gods can give you. And so there's just so many different runs you can have, and the replayability is endless with this game. And it was my game of the year, the first one. So I have been waiting for this sequel for what feels like forever. They did the same thing with this one, where it was in early access for a while, like I think maybe a couple years, and now it's finally coming out this Friday, and it's going to be the full polished version that they've, painstakingly refined after having input from beta testers, I guess it would be, but the people who were in the early access. So I am more than excited to finally get my hands on this game. But the reason I want to talk about it, besides just the excitement around it in general, is just the way it exemplifies what video games could be, again, as far as like major publishers. Supergiant Games is not a huge publisher. They put out quality content for sure, but obviously, they're not at the size of a company such as EA or something. But they are exemplifying what the industry standard should be, which is prioritizing the gameplay over everything else, and obviously the story too. But like, these are $30. I think it was maybe 25. I can't remember, but not even like the quote unquote full price game. And they are giving you a full polished package, maybe some updates down the line, but those are free. And they're just focused on putting out a quality title. I feel like they get so wrapped up, and by that I mean third-party publishers, AAA quote-unquote publishers, get so wrapped up in just trying to monetize a game, and it just feels like that's inherently just such the wrong like mindset to go into making a game with. Obviously, you need to make money off a game, and I'm not even saying that like the battle royales or the online only game, like I'm not even saying there is no place for those in gaming, but just feels like even story games are like just looked at as, how can we get the most amount of money out of this beyond the initial purchase price. And so it's just really, really cool when you do see these smaller publishers put out just such high quality titles at a lower price than what other companies are charging, and you're getting a fully fleshed out package. Like, they will update, I'm sure, to like fix some bugs, but it's not like these days with the other games where you're downloading like for 45 minutes on average just to get the game on there. And I understand inherently with the more intense graphics and whatnot that that's just gonna be a larger file size regardless, but it just still feels like it's more so like as bad as it is as far as like how much is actually coming on the disc versus how much you have to just download, because they just know they can kind of push it longer, and that's what they do. But this is just going to be a very, very fun game and fun time to play through once I finally get my hands on it. And I hope that this thing does incredibly well to once again signify to these big publishers that, hey, maybe your mindset going into this is kind of all wrong, and you shouldn't be worried about necessarily monetizing it and how you can do that, but how can we make a good game? And okay, what's a fair price for this? Let's charge that. That is always going to be the superior way to release a game. and hopefully they will get back to that soon. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're excited for this title. Like I said, I know this was a popular game, so I'm sure more than a few people, are looking forward to this. But thanks for listening. I'll catch you later.